The unseen spiritual warfare begins in a realm that most eyes cannot perceive, a fierce and unrelenting contest between radiant light and encroaching darkness, where Archangel Michael rises as a mighty guardian and commander. In this hidden arena, energies clash and forces of shadow attempt to veil truth, sow fear, and steal the destiny prepared for every soul willing to listen. Michael's presence is not a distant myth but a living reality, a blazing sentinel who defends the chosen from invisible arrows of despair and confusion. He calls the listener to awaken, to sense that life is more than ordinary routines, for the spiritual conflict is already underway. Like a private investigator of heaven's design, Michael examines the intricate trails of deception that snake through the corridors of human thought. He uncovers dangerous information, illuminates hidden motives, and ensures that what was meant to trap the seeker instead becomes a revelation of divine strategy. Every whisper of fear is met with his firm assurance that no plot against the faithful can succeed when exposed to the blazing light of heaven. The reader, the very soul hearing these words, is not a bystander but the central figure in this unfolding drama. Your spirit has been noticed and chosen, your inner name recorded in realms beyond sight, and your identity recognized by the Eternal as an heir to promises far greater than any earthly treasure. The threats that rise against you are not random accidents but calculated shadows, webs of betrayal spun in secret, forged documents of falsehood, and stolen blessings intended to drain hope and extinguish calling. Often these betrayals wear familiar faces, arising from those once trusted, making the sting deeper and the deception harder to discern. Yet Michael's sword cuts through every layer of disguise, exposing the darkness and shielding the heritage that heaven has marked as yours. Plans of the enemy fracture under the weight of celestial defense, while blessings once hidden begin to shimmer into view, protected by divine power that cannot be shaken. As these battles rage, the impact upon your mind and body is real. Sleepless nights, heavy dreams, sudden waves of spiritual pressure that feel like war itself. But Michael's message insists that these trials are not curses. They are signs that protection and awakening are actively at work. They reveal that heaven is closer than your breath and that the clash you feel is proof of your priceless worth. In such moments, a call echoes in your spirit. Remain steadfast and receive the full revelation. Many will turn back, surrendering to confusion or the illusion of loss. But those who stay will discover that no truth is ever truly stolen. The heavenly scroll of wisdom and promise is unsealed only to those who refuse to walk away, and within its lines lie victories no darkness can erase. What was taken, delayed, or hidden will be returned in multiplied measure, and the season of restoration is already marked by unmistakable signs, sudden confirmations, divine timing, and doors opening where walls once stood. Faith becomes the key to this entire journey, not a mere belief but a living force that overcomes deception and claims the blessings spoken from eternity. Obedience, too, is not a burden but a doorway, each step of trust unlocking deeper revelations and spiritual breakthroughs that strengthen your soul. Your victory will not end with you. It carries a legacy that reaches generations yet unborn. The chains you break become a pathway of freedom for those who follow, ensuring that your rising will inspire and protect future sons and daughters of promise. Along the way, heaven provides signals to confirm its work, small, ordinary moments that suddenly shine with extraordinary meaning, conversations and names that surface with perfect timing, and unexpected encounters that unveil hidden truths. Emotional and spiritual healing flow as tears release the pain of long-kept wounds and scars transform into testimonies of resilience. The very places where confusion once ruled become altars of clarity and peace. Michael urges attention to the urgency of this hour, reminding that this is no speculation but revelation, a clarion call that the coming days, perhaps the next week or two, are rich with unfolding blessings if you remain watchful. The weight you feel is not punishment but the sign of a soul awakening to its divine appointment, and though the darkness may press in, light and truth are destined to prevail. Even as trials persist, encouragement pours forth. The heaviness is a prelude to breakthrough, the silence before the song of victory. Shadows cannot smother the dawn that heaven has already ordained. Finally, a sober warning rings clear. The enemy will try to whisper that you are forgotten or abandoned, but that is the oldest lie. Stay faithful, for protection and guidance are sealed over you like a royal decree, promising that your name and inheritance are secure both now and forever. As this sacred narrative advances, understand that spiritual warfare is not a fleeting skirmish but a deliberate campaign waged by forces determined to distort your perception and drain your hope. Yet Michael's vigilant leadership ensures that every plot is met with heaven's superior strategy. In the quiet moments when doubts creep in, when circumstances appear immovable, remember that the invisible realm is alive with angelic movement, rearranging outcomes and shielding the blessings ordained for you. The adversary may employ subtle methods, miscommunication among friends, sudden financial strain, unexpected conflicts, to divert your focus, but these are merely distractions meant to obscure the greater reality of your calling. Michael speaks with authority, urging you to refuse the lure of despair and to recognize each trial as evidence of divine favor and imminent revelation. The identity you carry is not a fragile concept. It is a spiritual inheritance etched in light, a signature of heaven that no earthly power can counterfeit or erase. When betrayal strikes, often from those once cherished, it seeks to fracture your trust. But Michael reminds you that such wounds are invitations to deeper wisdom and to a faith unshaken by human frailty. Within these painful lessons, the hidden truths of God's plan unfold, and what seemed a setback becomes a step toward restoration and victory. Divine intervention operates beyond human understanding, sending messages through dreams, impressions, or sudden clarity that pierce confusion and bring comfort. Angels encamp around those who align with their higher purpose, forming a shield that deflects attacks both seen and unseen. In moments of overwhelming pressure, those nights when sleep flees and the heart feels heavy, consider that heaven's nearness is stirring your spirit, awakening gifts that only emerge in the crucible of trial. These challenges are not meant to break you but to burn away illusions, revealing the unshakable core of your identity. The call to remain steadfast grows louder, a summons to receive revelation in its fullness. Many will falter, distracted by noise or disillusioned by delay, but those who persist will witness the scroll of destiny unfurled, revealing insights reserved for the faithful. Restoration is not merely a return to former conditions but an elevation, a multiplication of what was lost or stolen. Doors that once seemed sealed will swing open with divine timing, and opportunities thought forever gone will reappear enhanced and overflowing. Faith remains the bridge to these promises. It is both shield and sword, enabling you to resist deception and to claim blessings that were spoken long before the foundation of the world. Obedience complements this faith, transforming abstract belief into tangible action, proving trust in the unseen and inviting further breakthroughs. Each step of obedience, no matter how small, signals to heaven your readiness to steward the gifts being released. Your personal victory carries a generational echo, rewriting family histories and setting a precedent of freedom for those who come after you. Children and grandchildren will walk paths cleared by your perseverance, their lives marked by the courage and steadfastness you demonstrate now. Signs of confirmation will continue to surface, often in subtle yet unmistakable ways. A timely word from a stranger, a name that repeats until you notice, or a circumstance that aligns so perfectly it defies coincidence. These moments are heaven's signature on your journey, quiet but powerful affirmations that you are guided and protected. Emotional and spiritual healing deepen as old wounds are acknowledged and released. Tears, far from weakness, become a sacred language, washing away bitterness and leaving space for joy. Scars, once symbols of pain, transform into emblems of testimony, reminders of battles fought and victories secured. Michael emphasizes the urgency of embracing these truths without delay. The coming days hold unique openings for blessing, and to hesitate is to risk missing the fullness of what is prepared. This urgency is not meant to alarm but to awaken, to stir your heart into active expectation and prayerful readiness. The heaviness you sometimes feel is the weight of destiny pressing closer, the birth pangs of a new chapter. Darkness may gather, attempting to intimidate, but light already has the final word, and every shadow is destined to flee before it. Encouragement flows like a steady river, assuring that no matter how fierce the trial, the end is victory and restoration. Let these words settle deep within. The enemy cannot claim what heaven has sealed. Final warning and assurance arrive hand in hand, declaring that deception will lose its grip as you remain faithful. Protection is not passive, it is a living covenant maintained through trust, prayer, and alignment with divine guidance. Though storms may rage and voices of doubt may clamor, know that your inheritance stands secure, guarded by the mighty presence of Archangel Michael and the eternal promises of the Most High. In the stillness of this unfolding journey, you are invited to see that every challenge, every unexpected turn, is woven into a grand design where nothing is wasted and nothing is beyond redemption. For the unseen battle is never without purpose and the heavenly defense never sleeps. Archangel Michael stands as a vigilant sentinel, watching over each step you take, ensuring that the schemes of darkness only serve to highlight the brilliance of divine intention. When anxiety whispers that you are alone or forgotten, recognize that this is the enemy's oldest tactic, a hollow echo meant to pull your gaze away from the blazing reality of your protected destiny. Even now, angelic hosts surround your path, orchestrating alignments that the human mind can scarcely comprehend, preparing connections, opportunities, and revelations that will affirm your calling. The spiritual realm hums with activity, and Michael's commanding presence guides the orchestration like a conductor of a celestial symphony, where each note of your life is positioned to create harmony out of what once seemed like chaos. The very obstacles that once appeared insurmountable are being transformed into stepping stones of glory, and the betrayals that cut so deeply are becoming doorways to wisdom and compassion. Take courage in knowing that every sleepless night and every tear shed in solitude are precious offerings, recorded in heavenly ledgers and met with comfort that surpasses understanding. This is not mere consolation but a transformative exchange, where pain becomes the soil for profound growth and resilience. The call to remain steadfast grows ever more pressing, like a clear trumpet sounding across the spiritual landscape, urging you to stay anchored in faith and attentive to the quiet guidance that flows from above. Those who heed this call will witness revelations that cannot be contained by human logic, insights that arrive with a clarity and power only the divine can provide. As restoration unfolds, expect the unexpected. Relationships mended in surprising ways, resources arriving precisely when needed, inner gifts awakening that had long lain dormant. This is restoration in its fullest sense, not merely replacing what was lost but multiplying it, enriching your life with abundance of purpose and joy. Faith continues to be the key that unlocks these treasures, an active trust that refuses to waver even when evidence seems scarce. Each decision to believe, each act of obedience, sends ripples through the spiritual realm, signaling readiness for greater responsibility and deeper blessing. Your life thus becomes a testimony, a living letter of victory that others will read and be inspired to pursue their own journeys of faith and courage. Future generations will look back on this season of your life as the turning point where old cycles were broken and new legacies were born. Signs will continue to punctuate your days, small but unmistakable markers of divine orchestration. A repeated number, a chance encounter, a dream with startling clarity, all gentle nudges reminding you that you are neither adrift nor unnoticed. With each sign, emotional and spiritual healing deepens, as layers of old grief fall away and your heart grows freer to love and to hope. The very scars that once told stories of defeat become emblems of endurance and sacred strength, each one a silent proclamation of how far you have come and how faithfully heaven has guarded you. Michael's voice carries a renewed urgency, not of panic but of opportunity, reminding you that the present window is rich with possibility and that aligning with divine timing is crucial. The days ahead are charged with meaning, each one a canvas for fresh breakthroughs if you remain attentive and receptive. The heaviness that sometimes presses upon you is not a curse but the weight of imminent birth, the herald of something new and luminous pressing into the visible world. Darkness may attempt its final push, but light remains undefeatable, and every shadow must yield to the dawn already ordained. Let these truths infuse your spirit with courage, for encouragement is not merely offered from afar but flows continually from the heart of heaven to yours, replenishing strength and renewing hope. And as the narrative nears its climax, hear again the steadfast assurance: the enemy's claims are empty, his strategies doomed, for your inheritance is sealed in realms beyond his reach. The covenant of protection is alive and unbroken, maintained not by your own striving but by the unwavering commitment of the one who called you. Stand firm, therefore, in faith and obedience, for you are neither forsaken nor forgotten but cherished and defended, destined to walk in the fullness of restoration and the radiant freedom that comes when divine revelation is fully embraced. As the final movement of this message unfolds, recognize that what began as a battle in unseen realms is now becoming a testimony of visible triumph. For every challenge faced and every tear shed has served a higher purpose and drawn you closer to the heart of divine protection. Archangel Michael's watch has never wavered. His presence remains a luminous shield, ensuring that no force of darkness can erase the promises inscribed over your life. The enemy's last attempts to sow fear or confusion may seem intense, yet they are only the fading echoes of a retreating foe, powerless to halt the destiny that has already been secured. In these closing moments, reflect on how far you have traveled, the sleepless nights transformed into mornings of peace, the betrayals that once pierced like arrows now reforged into wisdom and compassion, the doubts replaced with a quiet confidence that no storm can unsettle. Restoration is now more than a promise. It is a living reality taking shape around you. Relationships once fractured begin to mend with surprising grace. Resources arrive at just the right moment, and long-held dreams that seemed forgotten start to breathe with new life. You stand not merely as a survivor of spiritual warfare, but as a witness to the unstoppable power of light. Your faith, tested and refined, shines like a beacon for others who wander in darkness, inviting them toward their own journeys of courage and revelation. Every step of obedience you have taken, even when the path seemed steep, has become a seed of blessing, and the harvest is already evident. The legacy you now carry is not for you alone. It ripples outward to future generations, reshaping family histories, inspiring friends, and strengthening communities. Children yet unborn will benefit from the victories you have secured today, walking roads made straighter by your perseverance and trust. Heaven continues to send signs of affirmation, sudden flashes of insight, perfectly timed conversations, and opportunities that align so precisely they cannot be dismissed as coincidence. Each is a gentle reminder that the author of your story remains actively involved, weaving beauty from threads once tangled. Emotional and spiritual healing deepen as you embrace this truth. Old wounds no longer define you. Scars once feared as permanent marks of pain have become symbols of endurance and sacred strength. The heaviness that once threatened to crush your spirit has given way to a lightness born of freedom, a quiet joy that needs no outward proof to be real. Michael's voice, steady and commanding, calls you now not merely to receive but to share, to let your life shine as evidence that darkness is never final and that divine protection is a present reality for all who will listen. The urgency remains, not as alarm but as invitation. Every day ahead holds fresh opportunities to live out the revelation you have received, to speak hope into despair, to offer kindness where there is hurt, to become a living message of restoration and courage. This is the true victory of spiritual warfare, not simply that you are protected, but that you are transformed into a bearer of light, a person whose very presence pushes back the shadows in the lives of others. Stand firm in this identity. Walk forward with confidence, knowing that no scheme of the enemy can revoke what heaven has decreed. The covenant of protection remains unbroken. The blessings released are secure, and the future is bright with purpose and possibility. As you continue this journey, remember that every moment of faithfulness echoes in eternity and that the guidance of Archangel Michael and the host of heaven is not a fleeting comfort but an enduring reality, surrounding you with strength and peace. Let gratitude fill your heart for all that has been revealed and for all that lies ahead, because the same power that carried you through the fiercest battles will sustain you in seasons of quiet triumph and joyful service. And as you step into this new chapter, consider how your story might inspire others who hunger for hope and clarity. If you wish to keep drawing strength, insight, and encouragement from messages like this, you are warmly invited to join the growing community at Archangel Inspire on YouTube. Subscribing there is more than a click. It is a way of staying connected to uplifting content that continually points toward light, renewal, and the steadfast protection of heaven's guardians. Your journey matters, and sharing in a space dedicated to inspiration can help you nurture the courage and faith that have brought you this far.